Remember when I said on Saturday that Ty Gibbs better not bring Jesus into this? And I swear to God, he better not bring Jesus into this. Jesus wants nothing to do with you right now. Don't you dare bring him into this.
You know?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I always go back to the same verse that, Jesus was hated first and among all the people. So, that's a part of it.
Well, what'd you think? Of course he brings Jesus into this. Okay, don't get me wrong. I am not like a type of person that knows the Bible in and out. My mom does. But I'm pretty sure Jesus wasn't reincarnated some 5'6" blonde NASCAR driver that drives for his granddad. Just going on a limb here, probably didn't happen. Cannot believe this dude actually compared himself to Jesus. What a moron. Like, why? What? Of all the things you could have said, why that? Last time I checked, Jesus didn't ram his teammate into a wall with a car for no reason. He didn't do that. But we talked about the move and the incident on Saturday. Now we're going to discuss what happens for the future with Ty Gibbs and will there be penalties involved. Now, remember, NASCAR set a precedent back a few weeks ago at Las Vegas with Bubba Wallace. If you take out a driver, when Bubba Wallace right hooked Kyle Larson, sent him into the outside wall, Bubba was suspended for a race. Will NASCAR keep up that promise and suspend him, or suspend, I should say, Ty Gibbs for this incident? Or at the very least, is it even worth a suspension or a penalty? Now, I think when NASCAR set a precedent, I think they set a precedent based on the fact that it was at a high rate of speed with Bubba Wallace, I'm talking about. It was at a high rate of speed and Bubba right hooked Larson. Ty Gibbs is at Martinsville, a much smaller racetrack, and he bumped him. I mean, he wrecked him, but he hit him in the left rear and bumped him. It's not like a situation even with Matt Kenseth, where Matt Kenseth waited, was numerous laps down, waited for Joey Logano. It was premeditated payback. That was granted a suspension. With Bubba Wallace, it was right hooking a guy at a high rate of speed. I don't see NASCAR giving Ty Gibbs any penalty. Not even a fine. I don't think they're going to give him anything. They're definitely not going to suspend him, mainly because he is a championship 4 contender. So because of that, you're not going to suspend him or do anything like that. Even though they did say they would set a precedent, there are limitations to that precedent. So they're not going to suspend him, and I don't see a fine happening. But again, this does bring up the question about Ty Gibbs' future in the Cup Series. And like I said on Saturday, you can get away with the stuff that he did in the Xfinity Series. You can get away with stuff like that. But when you get into the Cup Series, and you race against these drivers like Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, Kevin Harvick, Truex, those drivers, Chastain, we know Chastain and Chase Elliott. When you get up race against those drivers, you can't do the stuff that he's been doing. I mean, look what he's done even as of late with the Cup Series, when he ran to the back of Eric Jones under caution for no reason, and also sideswiping Ty Dillon on pit road in front of crew members. You can make the argument, yes, he is a generational talent. I will not stop saying that. Ty Gibbs is a generational talent, I feel like. One of the best young talent right now that NASCAR has had. But he does not have the maturity level to be ready for Cup. And Larry Mack said this weeks ago after the Ty Dillon incident. If you have to keep making excuses time after time after time after time again, oh, he's young, he's this and that, he's young, he's just 19 or 20, however old he is, he's just starting out. If you're having to keep making excuses for that, you shouldn't be in the Cup Series. Even Joey Logano, when he was in the Cup Series at 18, he didn't have this many confrontations or this many issues with drivers like this. It wasn't until he went to Penske. But even other drivers, as young as they were, didn't have so many issues like Ty Gibbs is having right now. And also how Ty Gibbs lacks zero self-awareness. I mean, you saw what he did when he wrecked Brandon Jones. What he did, he started bringing the booze. And while I appreciate that he understands at the very least, listen, I know what I did was stupid, bringing the booze, but that's not something you should be like, oh yeah, bring in. It's like, you just dumped your teammate. No one should be celebrating after you dump your teammate, not only out of a win, but also out of the championship 4. That should not grant a celebration. Now, Joe Gibbs did discuss it. After Christopher Bell's win on Sunday, he did discuss the situation with Ty Gibbs.
So when things like that happen, there's going to be consequences. Ty knows that. We all do. It's a learning experience every single week for him. And, we don't want something like last night.
Again, when I hear that interview, to me, it just seems like a lot of fishing, a lot of around the question, like just trying to answer it, but really move on from it. Like Gibbs said at the end, it's a learning experience every week. How many learning experience can one have? Again, this is not the first time. He's had, what, 5, 6 confrontations with him wrecking drivers or turning drivers or just being an ass on purpose. Like, how many learning experiences can one have? And what are those consequences exactly? What are the consequences? He's not going to be suspended by NASCAR. They aren't going to fine him. What exactly are the consequences? Okay? Because again, he got none of it for other previous issues that's happened just this season. What makes us think that, oh, this time now, oh yeah, now this time he's going to get consequences. He's going to get some type of issue. Yeah, this time. I don't believe it. Actions speak louder than the words. With 2311 and Bubba, Denny Hamlin, this was Bubba's really first issue of him wrecking a driver on purpose. One time, we'll see what happens. I think he'll learn from it, but it's a one-time thing. Or one time that has happened in the Cup Series with Bubba. But again, with Ty, this is a reoccurring theme of him just being dumb. I mean, I'm sorry, I can't sugarcoat it, just being dumb. How many learning experiences can one have? When he gets into the Cup Series, which I think he will be in for one hell of an experiences. And I mean one hell of a learning experiences, and a learning experience of a different kind, of a don't F with us type of learning experiences, or else you will pay big time, especially with the structure of this next gen car and how stiff it is. You can't just be going around knocking people out of the way, because now it hurts. It hurts drivers. So, you know, and even Noah Gragson taking even extra careful driving. I think he said 80-85% now because of how dangerous or how stiff these next gen cars are. When Ty Gibbs goes up there, he's going to have to adjust in a huge way, not only physically, but also mentally. And I don't believe he is ready mentally for Cup competition. But of course, that's not my say. That's Joe Gibbs' say. And finally, let's talk about an update on Tyler Reddick. Now, if you remember during the Cup race at Martinsville, Reddick pulled off of pit road, retired from the race halfway through the event after reporting that he wasn't feeling well after contact with another driver, with I believe it was Noah Gragson, during a stack up on a restart. And it hurt him with his head. Saying he wasn't feeling well. He did make a statement not only on his social media pages, but also on SiriusXM NASCAR radio.
It is pretty crazy. I ran the back of Noah. My head went forward a bit, and then someone ran the back of me, and my head went flying back into the headrest. And yeah, just something didn't really seem right, and felt like I needed to get out of the car. And it was definitely the right call. I wasn't feeling my best, so went to the Martinsville Care Center and got everything checked out, and in their opinion, everything seemed okay. And just being really safe and making sure we're taking the right steps, that I'm 100% and not doing anything I shouldn't be. Homestead, I obviously crashed into the inside wall, frontal impact. It was a surprisingly large impact, in my opinion, but I felt fine after the race. I felt fine the days after the race. But to answer your question, no, Homestead and Martinsville, as far as I know, had nothing to do with each other. I felt good after Homestead.
And just some further information, Reddick said, update on my current situation. During the restart, at the beginning of the stage, I was involved in a stack-up where significant contact occurred to my vehicle. After being evaluated in the infield care center, the medical team came to the conclusion that further evaluation today was the next step to take. We are taking those necessary steps to make sure that I'm 100% before I am cleared to return to racing. I'm feeling better and working hard following the instructions of the medical team. Absolutely scary situation. Obviously, I hope nothing but the best for Tyler Reddick, and hopefully he's 100% before he can get back in a race car. Health comes first. Health is number one. But just another example of how not safe these next gen cars are compared to the Gen 6 car or any other previous car. I mean, I'm looking at the tweet, for him to say that at Homestead his forearm bent the steering wheel. You know how hard you have to hit something to bend the wheel. I mean, a wheel is not made of it's not made of wood. I mean, it is a hard piece, stiff piece of equipment. To bend it with your forearm, you have to hit it extremely hard. And he had a very hard hit at Homestead a couple of weeks ago. And I was worried when he hit that inside wall, how hard he hit it. I was very worried about how he would be doing. And when he raced on Sunday, I thought he was okay. But now, hearing about this with his head and the fact that he went forward, went back, started not feeling well, needs further evaluation. Not going to make any speculations, but obviously I'm hoping nothing but the best for Tyler Reddick. But I know NASCAR, they announced that they're going to be making some changes, with the rear clips of the car, which seem to be the stiffest part of the car. But, NASCAR needs to take a look at everywhere with this next gen car because there are a lot of issues that need to be solved.